only facility in the Eastern Caribbean. Can only be delivered by the Dominican Labour Party. That's how caring we are and importance we placing on the agricultural sector. So in 5-6 years time, I envisage that we'll be back to production levels. We are targeting our farmers. We are selling the plant for $10, and the cost of production for one plant is $25. So again, I'm encouraging farmers who want to go citrus, or if you may have abandoned lands in Calibishie area and the Northeast by extension, invest in citrus. I think you won't regret your investment. For persons, especially young persons who had issues in accessing land, what the government did, we provide or we establish a land lease facility for young persons. So far, we have over 390 applications. We are reviewing, we are processing, and we have already approved over 20 persons who will occupy 70 acres of land in different locations on the island. So if you're a young person here and you have access to proper land for farming, you can benefit from that facility. We're making it easy for you. You might say, okay, where am I going to get the resources to, the financial resources to invest in the farm? As the PM announced, in December again, we're going to have an additional $19 million at the Aid Bank for small business at 3.5% interest. You can go right there with your business plan. You have land, $1 per acre per year, and business is bright. However, we encourage that you be guided by us, the ministry, so you can grow something that is market-led and demand-driven. Over the years, we've invested quite a bit in agro-processing. Just last year, we provided farmers with over $3.5 million worth of equipment and grants, and we are seeing the results. We've done that for honey production and all other agro-processed products that we're doing. So that's the emphasis we've seen on that. Not just to be on the shelves here, but our target is to make sure the products that we do here are exportable and can be on the shelves competing in the region with any other internationally produced commodity. So that's the vision that we're making. But again, we still did not stop here. The budget provided $1 million for multi-purpose processing facility. We've been hearing that for years, and now we are going to realize that. We've done the necessary feasibility study, we've done drawings, we've done estimates, we have a site already identified, and the Prime Minister himself publicly make offer to the apiculture group, that's the persons who grow bees, that he will get resources to build a processing facility just for honey once they are serious. Lately again, the PM still said, okay, the cocoa farmers have potential, I will get the resources to build a specialized facility for cocoa farmers so we can have a national brand and be more competitive. Okay, so just before I end, I want to let you know that we have not forgotten our youth in agriculture. Because to ensure food security, we cannot overload the importance of young persons in agriculture. So what we are doing to make it more attractive, more inclusive, more exciting, we are, well, I don't use the word sexy. we are going to do some agro parks in every agricultural districts, working with the National Association of Youth in Agriculture. I'm seeing the president right there from a constituency, and we are going to bring the young farmers to these points where they can learn vertical agriculture, aquaponics, aquaculture, hydroponics. All the innovations in agriculture will be on one site. We engage them for a year, teach them agronomy, teach them agribusiness, teach them marketing, and when we finish with them for a year or two, we can win them out. And I just had a meeting with the guys from Dunkirk. They are going to put in that program a cash grant where after we win them out, the young farmers can go out and start on their own with investments in what they have learned. So that is the kind of work we are doing, and that's the kind of investment we're making through that budget, brothers and sisters. But to just sum it up, with all this investment I've mentioned for the past weeks, we have decided to make sure they're insured. You know, we're very vulnerable. Hurricanes, we are in the belt, we are in the middle of that archipelago. So, you know, so we're highly vulnerable. So in this budget, we're offering the agricultural insurance for farmers, free of charge to farmers. So we have allocated $1.5 million in the budget to pay for a facility. If you'll have remembered, in 2024, Grenada had that hurricane, Beryl. They were so lucky, in the month of May, they bought an insurance for $500,000. They were struck in July, and they got paid out $3.5 million. So lucky. We're saying we're not investing to get hit by a hurricane, but we have to have a safety net and be proactive. So we're going to have that policy. If a system would pass between 25 and 50 kilometers radius from Dominica with excessive rainfall, we can be paid out between $8 million to $10 million in 15 days. So we can assist our farmers in quick time. Okay, so that's the plan we have for farmers. There are many more stuff. I know PM will speak to more of them. But this budget this year basically is going to encourage the growth in the sector. We're creating that safety net for farmers, and we're building confidence in entrepreneurs and other person to invest in the sector. One thing, we have done so much, but what I keep saying is that Dominicans generally, we need more persons to invest in the sector. We need persons to invest in hatcheries, in aquaculture. These are big stuff. They can make plenty of money. But government on its own cannot do everything. We put system in place, we build the infrastructure, we have the facilities, we provide the resources for the banks. So it's now the environment is created for you, so take advantage of it. So thank you for your attention. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, Honorable Roy. Brothers and sisters and gentlemen, Labor, Debo, Sebo, Debo. That was just a taste into agriculture and the budget on agriculture. I listened to Mr. Roy speak last week, and there's so many other things that he spoke on, but of course time is limited tonight. But what we're telling you here tonight is that the opportunities for you in this budget are endless. And as an agricultural community, the opportunities in agriculture are tremendous for you. So you need to take some time, stop, research, look at what is in there, and what is it that you can do. Man must eat. All over the Caribbean, we have been used to being the bread basket. The opportunities are still here. The government is making it possible for you, creating the investments for you, so that you can create jobs, you can create food, you can export. And the Honorable Pal Rep said, make agriculture sexy. Nothing wrong in that. Agriculture for the young and for the old. Brothers and sisters, that was an insight, a glimpse into part of the goodness of the budget in agriculture. Tonight, I'm going to invite a comrade from the constituency, from the Benz community, our ambassador in United Arab Emirates, Avondale Paul.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. You'll have to do better than that. I came all the way from Abu Dhabi, that's 7,300 miles. Good evening, Calibishie. And wherever this is Labour territory, Labour has worked for this constituency, Labour has worked for this village, and we will be voting Labour whenever the Prime Minister call election next time. I want to acknowledge the presence of the Prime Minister. I want to acknowledge the presence of my cousin, the parliamentary representative for the Paybush constituency, Ms. Lekeir Joseph. I want to acknowledge the presence of our president of the Dominica Labour Party, Mr. Nanton. I want to acknowledge all the ministers of government, the manager of the WASCO, and most importantly, I want to acknowledge the presence of you, the Calibishie people, of you, the people of the Paybush constituency. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about a responsible government, we are talking about this government. The Prime Minister and his team did not have to come here tonight and tell you about the budget. He could just say, you know what, it was presented in Parliament, you could listen to it on radio, but it takes time off and his team to come to Calibishie to deliver and to talk to you and to get your feedback. So we have to honor that sort of leadership. And ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing things on Facebook, the internet, TikTok, about they have 10 pillars and how many pillars they have. But I want to declare tonight here that these are not pillars. These are pillow tweet. These are pillow tweet. They are weak. They have no foundation. But when you talk about the Labour Party, we have the pillars. One of the things they did not mention in their so-called pillars was leadership. And there was no surprise about that because they don't have that. But what we, the Labour Party, have is leadership. And we have the leadership in Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. They said that he has been there too long. He has been there for 20 years and 25 years, and time for him to go. Well, that is just wishful thinking. We want the Prime Minister to be here for another 25 years. Because when I have to take you through what was and what is today, you will understand why we need Roosevelt Skerrit for another 25 years. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's budget, as the Minister of Finance said, is a covenant between the people. You know what's a covenant? An agreement. The Prime Minister and his team went all over the island, listened to what the people's needs are, and as a result, you can see this is reflected in the budget. So if you really have to take a look at the budget is not the government budget. The budget is the people's budget. You said what you want, the government listened, and they just put it down on paper for you. But let's go back to history. Because again, the truth is here. You listen to TikTok and Facebook and AI and everybody just come up with certain things. But the truth is here. And that's why we're here to tell you the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2000, and we're talking about agriculture, when they said that agriculture was the best ever, agriculture was contributing less, about $99 million to GDP. $99 million. The Prime Minister and his team 2-3 years ago set a target so that agriculture will contribute $700 million by 2030. So if all the talk people are talking about back in the day agriculture was better, that's the only government in Dominica history to set a target for agriculture to contribute to the economy, and that is $700 million. And again, ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister didn't just talk and throw out the number. If you have to realize what's happening, my dear Minister just said, 30 million was spent on agriculture last year. In 2021, 1,573 acres of land was established for bananas, plantain. 107 acres of land was established for cocoa and other tree crops. In 2021, over 300,000 vegetable seedlings for our friends in 1 Mile Chinese were given out to our farmers. So the government is not only talking, but the government is putting the money so that the farmers can achieve that goal. Right now, we can safely say that Dominica is almost, if not already, the only Caribbean island with 100% food security. What does that mean, food security? Food security means if all the boats stop coming with rice, stop coming with chicken, Dominica looks like the only island in the Caribbean that can survive. Because we have an abattoir, we have agriculture, we have fruits, we have dashing, we have vegetables to survive. So based on the policies of this government, we see today, we can boast that we are almost 100% food security. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about tourism. I was a little boy in Benz, coming to Calibishie to play football. I have family in Calibishie, and they have been talking about an international airport. And this Prime Minister, this government, is the only government that was able to sit down, look at the CBI program, and maximize it so that we could have an international airport 15 minutes away from Calibishie. And I just want to tell you a secret in terms of, when I tell you about we have a solid pillar, one of our main pillars is leadership. When this international airport was being built, the runway was much shorter. But the Prime Minister, in his vision, in last minute decided to extend the runway to give Dominica a competitive edge. What is the competitive edge am I talking about? So that our international airport could facilitate long-haul flights. What is a long-haul flight? A long-haul flight is a flight that lasts 16 plus hours. So you can fly straight from Dubai into Dominica. You can fly straight from Hong Kong into Dominica. That without stopping. That's what you call a long-haul flight. And because of the vision of the Prime Minister and his team, we are one of two of the international airport in the Caribbean that is able to host a long-haul flight. So, a long-haul flight. So thank you. Tourism. We're talking about hotels. Growing up as a little boy, we only had one not so luxury hotel. But with this administration, 20 years in the making, we have over 1,000 luxury room hotels being built or finished built. And ladies and gentlemen, once these hotels are completed, we'll have over 1,500 luxury hotel rooms attracting high net worth individuals. And at 60% occupancy, these hotels, 60%, I'm not saying 100, 60% occupancy, these hotels will be contributing over $300 million directly into the economy. I have to go back in history because people think, well, it was 100 years ago that Dominica was struggling. It was just the other day. Little boys, right now in Benz, if you give me $1 million to find a pit latrine, I may not be able to win that $1 million. Because this Prime Minister, with his visionary leadership, has eradicated pit latrine in the entire Dominica. And that was before the United Nations declared such a vision. So we have to respect our leader. We have to vote for our leader. The Dominican Labour Party is the party for the people, by the people, with the people. Let's talk about a few other things. Ladies and gentlemen, the international airport is going to cost between $1.3 and $1.5 billion without we, the taxpayers in Dominica, paying a cent. It is from the CBI program. And ladies and gentlemen, if we had to build an international airport on our own, the $1.3 billion for 25 years loan of $1.3 billion, the government had to search for over $750 million in interest on that loan. And because of this leadership, because of the Labour Party and its vision, we were able to build an international airport costing the taxpayers not 1 cent. Ladies and gentlemen, I could stay here all night, but the budget is a budget of the people, a budget that cares about the people, a budget that addresses agriculture, a budget that addresses housing. We have a housing program in this budget, the OK 2%. You know what that is? for civil servants. If you're qualified, you can get a loan at 2%. I want to break that down for you because you're just hearing 2% and you're thinking, well, okay, 2%. If you go to National Bank or to Scotia Bank for a loan at 8%, 7%, compared to the 2%, when you get an interest at 2%, you will be saving over $250,000 in interest rate at 2%. So when you, and again, we're here for the truth, to tell you the truth, so that when you hear things on social media, you understand what is happening. So when you hear talking about salaries are low, the Prime Minister and his government is finding ways and means to put more money in the pockets of civil servants. So if you have 100 civil servants who take advantage of that loan, the 2% loan, we're talking about the civil servants saving these 100 civil servants saving over $2.3 million in savings. Another thing you hear about the pillars on the other side, they want to increase wages, minimum wage, from $7 or $8 up to $12. That's over 50% increase. And sometimes when I think of the Prime Minister, I wonder who has the PhD in economics. Because those who said they have the PhD in economics, not making sense. Because when you increase your wages over 50%, it's going to create increase in salaries and wages for companies. And the companies, Astafans, the bank, they're going to increase your prices on the goods. And that will cause inflation. So with the visionary leadership of Prime Minister and his government, he puts money back in the pockets of the civil servants without impacting the economy negatively. We're talking about the flat tax rate. People used to pay 30%, 25%. Now it's 10%. And putting more money in the pockets of the citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, I will stop here tonight. What I would encourage you to do is to go register to vote, confirm to vote. Election is around. Election is in Rosenhof. Election is in 2028, whenever the Prime Minister calls it. So make sure you vote, and let us as Laborites, let us as citizens of Dominica unite. What is that? Let us unite as citizens of this constituency, vote for Labour, vote for a government for progress. Thank you very, very much, and have a good night.
Okay, Ambassador, brothers and sisters, you know there are so many things that we could say because there are so many opportunities here. As I said earlier on, it's the first time the opposition go to Parliament and say, you know what, this budget was good. Labour, Debo, CBO, Debo. DAIC come out for the first time and said the budget was good. Labour, CBO. Brothers and sisters, there's so many things to talk about in the budget. The ambassador in closing made mention that the Prime Minister and this Labour Party now came around and reduced tax, personal income tax. That when we came in, if you had a salary of $1,000 a month, you earn $12,000, you have to pay tax. We reduce tax now from the minimum threshold is now $30,000, right, PM? $30,000 is the threshold. So now if you draw $30,000 or less, no tax. If you draw $30,000 or more, the first $30,000, no tax. But not just that, the rate of tax in Dominica was crazy. We had people paying tax at 20, 25, and 35%. And this budget, under this leader of the Dominican Labour Party, Roosevelt Skerrit, said from January, no matter what you get, flat tax, 10%. You are paying 35%, 10%. You earning 30,000 or less, no tax. Brothers and sisters, sometimes people talk, and sometimes we don't even listen because things are good, and we say, you know what, we expect it to be good. Guess what? If you meet a woman with nothing, you come to that family, you give them land. They can't do anything with the land. Under Roosevelt Skerrit, he said, give them the land at $1 a square foot. All around. Then you have the land, you need a house. 5,000 homes being built and given to Dominicans all around Dominica. 5,000 homes being built by Roosevelt Skerrit and the Dominican Labour Party. Labor Debo. You have a home, your child needs to go to school. When Roosevelt Skerrit became the Prime Minister, less than 1 in every 2 children could go to high school. The percentage was 46% of our children in primary school could go to secondary school. Today, every child has a seat in high school. When Roosevelt Skerrit came as Prime Minister, only 7% of children leaving secondary school could go to college. Only 7%. So it meant that from every 100 children leaving high school, only 7 could go to college. The Prime Minister and the party changed that. We haven't got to forget those things. Brothers and sisters, in Calibishie and in Pebush constituency, we have a water project ongoing. What we had before was bad. The tank at Mopak was filled for the first time last weekend. And work is continuing on the one here in Pebush. And tonight we're here, we bring to you the manager of the Wasco to give you an update on the water program and the water systems in the Pebush constituency.
Thank you, Ambassador Nantan. I want to recognize the Honorable Prime Minister of Dominica, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, the parliamentary representative for the Pebush constituency, of which Calibishie is a part, critical part, Honorable Mr. Rui, Minister of Agriculture, Ambassador Paul. For the ministers of government present this evening, I see my very own minister and pal rep, Honorable Grant, and you, the citizens, the people of Calibishie. I'm very pleased to speak with you here tonight to let you know what is happening to your water system. As we say, water is life, and our tagline, I'm pleased and I'm very thankful tonight that the Honorable Prime Minister and the government of Dominica made available an amount of $36.3 million for 4 priority water systems across Dominica. As a result of the source of funding, there were a number of things that had been put in place before the systems could have started. Among those were a consultancy to assess every single water system in Dominica, as a result of which a German firm, Fittner Water and Transportation GmbH of Germany, was awarded the contract for that consultancy. The first phase was to simply analyze all the systems, see what the problems were. And the second phase of that consultancy was to design interventions to ensure that those systems were brought up to a standard where that would be more reliable, more resilient, and more beneficial to the people. Those consultancies cost in excess of 4.5 million euros. It was a German firm. At the end of the design, we had to release that firm and get another consultancy to assist in the actual implementation of the projects. We initially had 6 projects for water and 1 for sanitation. When we went out to bid, the cost that came back was exorbitant. We had to go back to the drawing board with the consultants and reduce the scope of many of those projects and even drop 2 of them. Calibishie was one of the 4 that remain on the cards. The Calibishie water system has had a long history. It's been served by hydraulic ramp pumps in an area that is extremely vulnerable. Landslides almost every year and several times a year. We need to do something about that. So part of the design works for the system, among the scope of the Calibishie system, was to replace those ramp pumps with more reliable electric pumps. The reason being that we could hardly find parts for those pumps. Out of 3, we probably have just 1 serving at this point in time. To operate the electric pumps, we had to pay down pressures and all of those things. We have already installed all the supply lines that will serve that tank from where the pump house is going to be erected, and that will serve the tank, fill the tank so that people will have water, reliable water, the pressures that you so desire. We have installed all the main distribution lines. All of those things are in place. The reason being that the funds or the funders, the source of funds that the government had to provide to the WASCO, there was a terminal disbursement date attached to that, meaning the last date at which funds could be disbursed. When we are doing those projects, with all good intentions, a number of things occur. We had challenges with getting pipes and fittings from, in some instances, Italy, from Israel, from Jamaica, from the United States. Those things took a much longer period of time than we anticipated. There were also inclement weather that disrupted some progress from time to time. At the end of the day, though, the designs that were done by the German consultants did put a cost as to what it would cost for the Calibishie system. The same for the Calibishie system, the Grand Forks system, Grand Forks Monjon, River Syric, and the same for the West Coast. Those are the systems that were prioritized. When implementation began, we realized that, and that is a lesson that we learn here, that the consultants coming from all the way from Germany, not having the local experience and so on, there were some little flaws. And so there were some deficiencies we had to correct and to ensure that when the system is complete, people will be happy, people will be satisfied. We know you have had a lot of patience, you've been waiting for a long time. But we are in the final stages at this point. We expect that this project will be fully completed by the 31st of December 2026. Notwithstanding, hold on please, notwithstanding that is the date for the roads and everything to be fully reinstated. We expect that you will begin to benefit from a full project by the end of October of this year. We have consulted with our main contractor on the project, and we are in the process, maybe tomorrow, of signing an agreement that contractor will return to the project and implement all the remaining aspects of the project that should be completed by October 2026, and the people will begin to benefit from the full effect of that project. From, I think it's Ground Force, international firm, really good pumps. We have them in store. We have, the contractors are going to have, and we'll see the full benefit by October 2026. All right, so we are there, and we are to completion. So thank you very much. I'm sure you'll have questions that I may be able to answer at some point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Etinoff. Ladies and gentlemen, we come to the part of the meeting where we want to hear from you. You may have some questions or comments or suggestions. Then we have 2 mics, and there's one somewhere at the front and the one at the back. So the floor is now open for you to make your contribution to this meeting before we hear from our political leader and Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. But the floor is now yours. Okay, Floyd has the mic at the back. We're good?
And all that. But there is a situation that we are facing in Dominica. You go to a restaurant and you ask for a plate of food. And then they cut 2 little slices of dash. No, I'm serious. They cut 2 little slices of dash and tell you that it's $2. And I remember when my father used to plant, you get a whole set of food and you get it $5. And then it had roads. It was more difficult. So now you're making it easier for the farmers. Can you put something in place to have a price restriction so the farmers cannot shift the responsibility of have me going to town and looking for permission to do it and have to pay $2 for a slice of that shit? So can you do that? Put a price in place for the farmers so they don't rob us, they don't cheat us. Because we might, it's not everyone that have land. And you have poor people that have nothing. So then when they go to this, to buy food, for them to be charged so much money when they are getting it for so, getting it free. You get land free, you get fertilizer, you get roads. Bring down the price.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll take a few questions before we start answering, okay? Somebody else would like to make a contribution, ask a question? Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay. So, like, I noticed, like, the Domlec works that were started in December of last year, like, they kind of, like, were putting pipes in. The Jawasco, sorry, white lady here. Alright, so Jawasco pipes were put in, and like all that was like kind of left unfinished. And in the past week, they've come in and started to fill that in, but like it's not been, the pipes aren't connected, so like people aren't getting water. So what's up with that? Am I wrong?
No, okay.
Am I wrong?
We'll answer the question in a while. We take a few questions and we answer them after. Yes?
I'm just curious because I was here and I saw the work being done. And we got it. Like they laid the pipes, but the pipes weren't attached to anything. And so the people who were wanting to get water didn't. And what? Silence? Okay, fine. White lady noise, right?
Okay, thank you very much. We said we will answer the questions after. We'll take a few questions and we'll answer them after. Okay? Thank you very much. Yes, we have another question or comment, suggestion?
Good evening to the panelists and to the constituents. My name is Rosie St. John Francis. I have a concern concerning the Dawasco situation. I would like to know why the water project is run from down Sabampai, going up from the village up to Sabampai, instead of coming down all the way from Poche down into Savanpai, down into Limerick? That is one question. Another question I have is concerning agricultural land. I know that there is some government land that is in Calibishie, but we cannot just access, and I know that for sure. But a person like me, I'm a commercial farmer for 30-something years. And right now, I have nowhere to work. So I'm asking the government, please, to look into my situation as very urgent, because I have a lot of plants and they're just going in the grass because I have got somewhere to put them. And I cannot just go and access the land like that. Okay, so that is my two questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll take one more before we ask Mr. Answer. Yes?
I want to say good night to the Prime Minister of Dominica and also to his cabinet. I have a concern. It's not about water, neither about farming, but my concern is about education, because our textbook, we're not getting the Minister of Education to talk to us and to explain to us what is the verdict about a textbook, because our textbook, I can talk about myself. Right now my son is going to fourth form, and I have textbook from second form sitting at my home. No ears, no elbow, no finger. It's just like how it come out in the store. And I cannot pass it on to no other children because it is of use. So I would like the government, the Minister of Education to look into these things so we can solve that problem. That is a serious problem. It is a very serious problem because I have second form book at my home, third form book at my home, 16 at my home. Which back then we could give it to other children as they go in class, but no, it's of no use. So somebody has to come and explain to us what it is all about. And those tests, man, if you know good for yourself, you will get stroke because they're expensive. They are very, very expensive. Right? I went to buy some textbooks for my son. I'm a single mother. I work with NDP. The salary is not much, but I sacrifice to buy my child textbook. And when you get 190, man, if you don't book, you'll get stroke. Somebody come and talk to us, explain to us what this is all about. Because we have less fortunate parents, single mother like myself, and I sacrifice to help my child with his education. So somebody come on board now. Explain to us. Hear the cry of you people. We need, okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Good night. I agree with the last person 100%. I have always said to the Ministry of Education that they're causing parents to waste money in these textbooks now. We're asking people to buy 20 textbooks, and then the textbooks change every year. And really and truly, the number of textbooks we use in a school are too many. This is why I have been advocating for a reform of the education system. That there has to be a dramatic change in the way that we teach and the way that we provide tuition to students. And so I gave my friend the assurance that this is something that the government will certainly deal with in a decisive manner. Because one can appreciate that if you go and you buy a book for $90, and sometimes they don't even use it. Or if they use it, is one chapter in a 10-chapter book. You know, and I don't think it's fair to parents and to students. And then you buy the book and you cannot sell it because they're not using it for the next year. And I think that we're making people buy way too many books in Dominica. Children in primary school, they can't even carry a school bag. This thing straight in them. And it is absolutely ridiculous. I agree with you 100%. And this is a matter I've been raising in the cabinet for some time. But rest assured, we'll deal with this decisively. Because I taught at secondary school, and I could get children who pass without using a textbook. And why do you need 3 textbooks for English or 3 textbooks for maths and all these textbooks? It's just secondary school. It's just primary school. You know? And so we take note of that. And I understand your concern, and we respect your concern, and I share your concern. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you again. So there will be concern for the land and to plant. So you can just officially write to the Ministry of Lands, to the Permanent Secretary, or Ministry of Agriculture, requesting the use of government land, make sure we identify where it is, and then Land and Service will go out, do the necessaries, and we can look into your request. So it's a simple process. Once it's received, we will work on it quickly. My friend about the price of cashing, what I can say is, Dexia is supposed to publish the price of how much farmers sell, or the buying price of commodities on a weekly basis. They had stopped for a while, we advocated that they started, they have been doing it recently. So that should be the buying price by any person. So the person may be overselling. Well, when I go to a restaurant, too expensive, I go somewhere else, honestly. But it's something that we don't really have price control, but we advise on how much, let's say, pound of gashing or plantains or bananas are sold. So it should be done by that. Okay, but it's nothing less than you can do when advise a restaurant here how to celebrate the food. So I think that will be a personal decision. But on our end, we publish the prices at which the commodities are being sold.
All right, well, thank you for those two questions, comments. The first question really was answered in my brief presentation. Nobody's connected yet to the new lines because they have to be pressure tested, disinfected, and that is what we are now doing. The halt, as I indicated in the presentation, was as a result of the terminal disbursement date for disbursement of funds, which was March 31st. At that point, we had to halt until we had a new terminal disbursement date, which we now have officially confirmed and so forth. So that is ongoing, the pressure testing, disinfecting, and so persons will be connected, as I indicated, sometime in October, by the end of October. Everybody should be served from the new system. The other question as to why the lines come down to the village and then up to Southern Pine, any ridge that you got the lines down from, you're going to have to go up another one anyway. And after doing the modeling, doing the hydraulics and so forth, it was felt that the better thing to do was to come down on the ridge that we came down. Is safer, it is less costly, less timely. If we had to go on the other ridge, we would have to do the same amount of trenching again. So one trench, you will realize, has 2 pipes in there. One pipe is a high pressure pipe that will take the water up to Southern Pine. So you're not going to have any challenges.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, I now want to invite the Prime Minister to address us, and we may take questions after. But please put your hands together, please, for the Honourable Prime Minister, the political leader of the Dominican Party, the man from Bakers, Roosevelt Skerrit.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me recognize my friend and my colleague, Honorable Lucky Joseph or Palrip, my friend and colleague, Honorable Roland Roy, my friend, Ambassador Paul, Comrade Nanton, my comrades and friends, Honorable Grant, Honorable, that we're not talking to the people of Dominica enough, that we're not engaging them enough, that we're not sharing with them and explaining to them what is happening in Dominica, what is not happening and why they're not happening. I think it's important that the government recognizes, and of course at the party level too, that we need to have more conversations with people of Dominica. Of course. And to come to where people live and to engage them and to hear from them of their concerns, their dreams, their aspirations, things that are frustrating them, things that they're vexed about, and to see how we can work together towards resolving those issues for the greater good of all of us. So I'm happy that we're here in Calibishie tonight, and I give you the assurance that it will take us very long again for you to see us back in Calibishie. Okay. Calibishie is a wonderful community. I used to live in Calibishie in the late 90s. Some of you may know that. I have many friends here, family. It's a place of very sincere, very warm, very hospitable people. Always a pleasure to be in Calibishie. Very respectful people, hardworking people, decent people, and it's always really a pleasure to be here in Calibishie. A place that is very clean, people plant their flowers, people grow more what they eat, they're very industrious. You have led in tourism for so long in Dominica, real pioneers in many ways, from a grassroots level. When you talk about community tourism, you talk about Calibishie. And so we thank you for your industry, for your hard work, and for your commitment. But we're here tonight and I'm happy that the General Manager of the Wasco is there. I want to recognize him for giving the update on the water project. It is an important project to the residents of Calibishie, and we pray to God that it will come to a successful completion and we can see a dramatic improvement in water services in Calibishie, and we're very confident that the new system will provide that. Obviously, we're very apologetic for the dramatic inconvenience that you have suffered over several months. While I accept that whenever you do developments like this, there will be inconveniences, but I believe that there could have been a better way of mitigating against those inconveniences. That we could have much earlier do some temporary road repairs and to ensure that the dust level could have been reduced. But we're doing some repairs now, albeit temporarily, so that it can eliminate the dust and the inconvenience that you've been experiencing for these months in Calibishie. So I want to thank you for your understanding and apologize to you for the dramatic inconveniences. But in this budget, ladies and gentlemen, there are so many things that will directly benefit the village of Calibishie. When you look at the type of businesses that we have in Calibishie, a lot of small businesses in Calibishie, many of them in tourism, many of them in agro-processing, many of them in services, many of them in agriculture. And when you speak to access to funding, and with the $19 million that will be made available to the aid bank in December, to unlend to you at 3.5%, I want to urge those of you with businesses that you want to sustain and expand to prepare yourself to take advantage of this opportunity. And what I will do alongside your partner is that very soon, maybe early September thereabout, I will ask the aid bank to come to Calibishie to have a meeting with you to prepare you in advance So you know upfront what do you need, how you do it, so you prepare yourself to take advantage of this opportunity. Under this facility, you can get as much as $550,000 as a loan at 3%. And when you compare 3.5% to 6 or 7% or even 5%, it's a major saving for a small business. Because when you're in business, every dollar counts and every dollar is important. So off the bat, you can benefit directly from this facility at the aid bank. Then you speak about the new system that we'll be introducing at the customs. As we speak now, and that has been the case for the entire existence of the Customs and Excise Department, we've been doing the calculations of the custom duties and fees and charges in a compounded nature. So when you work it out, so you buy something for $7,000, they put import duty on it. And then on top of that, they put the freight and the environmental surcharge or the customs service charge, and then they put VAT on all of that. What we have said in the budget address is that we're going to remove the compounded nature, which means that you will be spending, you ought to pay less at the customs for clearing any good that you bring into Germany, and which is a direct savings to you. And those of us who will have nothing to import, it is expected that when you go to the supermarkets and elsewhere, we should see a reduction of the price of goods because the business person will be paying less at the customs to clear the goods. And this is a direct effort towards addressing the cost of living in Dominica, ensuring that people can pay less on the shelves and when they import things for themselves. So this is a major policy shift in Dominica that is worth noting. Then you speak about the removal of the 35% income tax, and the 25% income tax, and the 15% income tax. And we have now introduced a 10% flat rate, removing all of those rates, which means that the people in Dominica who are paying, and in Calibishie and the constituency of Calibishie, who are paying income tax, will see a dramatic difference at the end of the month when it comes to the new income tax payment and so forth. Which means we're allowing you as a working person in Dominica who is paying taxes to keep more money in your pocket and let you do whatever you wish with that money. Hope that you can invest it, you can use it to improve your life and to live a better way of life. And so on one hand, we're reducing the cost of goods and cost of doing business in Dominica. On the other hand, we're allowing you to keep more money in your pockets. And for those who are already not paying income tax, because we increased the tax threshold from $12,000 in 2009 to $30,000, which means that from 2009, everybody who is earning some $2,500 a month paid no taxes in Dominica. And we've extended that now to those who are paying income tax in Dominica. And for those of us now who are not paying income tax, who do not meet who are below the threshold and therefore not paying income tax, there's a benefit to you. There's a benefit to you because if you have a business, whether you're a farmer, whether you have a restaurant, whether you have a bar, whether you're selling some drinks, whether you're a barbecue person, whatever you're doing, it means that for the working people in the community will have more disposable income and they're able to buy more from you. So this is the far-reaching positive implication for this new tax measure. And I can tell you, as we know, I do not like income tax. I have always been a supporter of the removal of income tax, and I've said so publicly many times. And I believe that if the economy continues to grow as it is growing now, and we're starting to see things happening, the airport completed, the marina completed, more hotel rooms coming on board, I believe that very soon we will see a complete elimination of income tax in Dominica. So you work, your salary is $4,000, you'll go with $4,000. There'll be no taxes on this. And this is where we're moving to as a government and as a country. Now we're speaking about the international airport. One of the major beneficiaries of the international airport in Dominica is Calibishie. is Calibishie, the major beneficiary, because you are already in the tourism business. And I'm sure just with the flights from North America, you have seen a difference in visitors coming to Calibishie. And just imagine when you will see the international airport, when more people will be able to come to Dominica directly from the source markets. And so we have to start preparing ourselves. This is why it's important for us to take advantage in Calibishie of this $19 million at the Aid Bank. So that those of us who are renting a local room or renting our downstairs or upstairs or a building, we don't start getting the white sheets and the white pillowcases and the white towels. So that the guests can have, we can all improve our standard of service and give the guests the best experience so they can come back again. And so there's a direct benefit to you with the international airport. And as the ambassador mentioned, we are building, and it's interesting for us to note this, the extraordinary vision of the government that is manifesting itself in a practical way. I'm not aware of any country that has built or is building an international airport without taking any loan. Do your research. And we are building an international airport in Dominica without imposing a burden on you and your children now and in the future. But our children will be reaping the benefits of this international airport without having the burden of repaying it. And so if you had to take a loan, you'll be paying hundreds of millions of dollars in interest on this loan. And so monies that you'll be using for roads and education and housing, you'll have to be paying back the international airport. And we are building an international airport. It's an extraordinary effort. And as you know, every single government, from Frank Barron to E.O. LeBlanc, to Patrick John, to Eugene Charles, to Mr. Edison James, all of them spoke about the airport. They had a vision to build the airport. They explored the opportunity to build the airport for financing, for land acquisition, and all kinds of things. But the reality is, for them it was impossible to raise the money. Because no country is going to give you money to build an international airport, just like that. The World Bank will not give you any loans to build an international airport. The CDB, the Caribbean Development Bank, will not give you any money for the international airport. And so you have to go to a commercial lending institution at 12 and 13% interest. And you do the maths on this. But we are using the Citizenship by Investment Program to build this airport that will have a tremendous transformational impact on the economy of Dominica. That is what's going to really help us propel us to the real mountaintop. Because for us to see economic activity, for the community, for the economy to grow to the extent to which it must grow, to create more sustainable jobs, higher paying jobs, for us to have more money in our pocket, for farmers to sell more, for the cassava man to sell more cassava, for us to sell more beers and more drinks here, and all of the cocoa sticks that we have, we need to bring more people in Dominica. More people must come to our country as visitors, as residents, so that they can consume more of what we're producing. And that is what the government is doing. This is why the government is building a marina, and you yourself here in Calibishie, in the Pemish constituency, are going to be a major beneficiary of the marina. Because when somebody comes on their yacht, they're not staying on the boat all day, all night. They come out, they rent a car. They come and experience what we have to offer, our way of life, our cuisine, our culture. They come here, they stop at the bar and speak to you and have a drink. They stop at the restaurant. They buy our fruits and our vegetables to take back to the ship, to the cruise ship. All of these things are going to impact us directly, going to generate money. Because my intention as Prime Minister Dominic is to put systems in place to allow people to make more money. We need people to make more money. We need to have people here in Calibishie who can make money, and so that the more people who have more money, it is better for everybody in between, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Investing in those things to allow for there to be more opportunities to make money. I see in the audience a couple of our friends who are visiting with us here, and we welcome them. We want them to see Calibishie and Dominica as their permanent home, that they can live here and work and invest. And I want to say to you, my friends who are visiting us, that there is a new policy decision in the budget for you directly. As it is now, the law, income tax law states that if you are resident in Dominica and you are making money in Dominica, both the money you make in Dominica and what you make outside of Dominica is susceptible to be taxed. We're saying that we're going to remove the income tax on your worldwide income. So if you're working in America and you have a guest house in Dominica, we will not be interested in what you're making in America. We will be taxing that. It's only on what you're making in Dominica will be taxed. So make life better for you, make your investments better, and put you in a better income situation. Directly targeting people to ensure that we can give them the motivation and the facilitation to invest more in Dominica. And so there are a number of things that are going to benefit you directly. The Minister of Agriculture spoke, not at length, he gave you a synopsis on a number of things in this budget address that directly targeted farmers. And the history will show, and I see my friend Mr. Warrington and others there, farmers there. No time in our history of Dominica, we've suffered many natural disasters. The only time government would have helped a farmer is if you were a banana farmer because you had insurance. But we have always held the hands of the farmers and the fishermen after every major disaster, where we put back money into your hands and support you to get you into work and restore your livelihoods, because we understand this. And so what we have said in this year's budget is that we'll be taking on an insurance for farmers. But here it is. You, the farmer, you will not be asked to pay anything. The government, through the Treasury, will take the insurance on behalf of the farmers. And the government will pay the premium of that insurance. And then the government will be in a position that if your farm is affected by a storm and the insurance money kicks in, then we give you a check to help you go back on your farm. Providing you with that level of support that give you that hope and confidence that if something were to happen to you, the government is there to support you. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And so there are a number of things in there that will benefit the people of Calibishie. And so I want to say to the young people of Dominica that we have to start positioning ourselves to take advantage of those opportunities. And the government is seeking to diversify the economy, to create more avenues for making money, for generating more revenue, because more revenue the government generates, it is in a better position to help people and to provide better goods and services and improve goods and services to us in Dominica. And we're seeing it going. This year we saw a 7.6% increase in our revenues, or tax revenues. And when all of these things come together, all of these projects are completed, and we start to see people coming in and taking advantage of this, we'll make things happen. And of course we spoke about the creative industries. Whether you're a belly dancer or quadrille, or you're a bouillon artist or a playwright, that we are seeking to position you, to help you better package your trade, and to use that trade as an export, because we can't only be dancing belly and singing curl songs only during Independence time. That has to be year-round, that we have to position ourselves, that we go overseas and perform, and then when they pay us, we bring the money back as foreign exchange. We are going to be pushing this and ensuring that the things that you're doing, so the Paybush Cultural Group, with all of the songs that they've written, and I see Web there was written several songs, you're supposed to register these things, have your trademark on it, so that when people play these songs, no matter where in the world they play, you be getting something from that. That's what we're seeking to help the artists and the musicians and everybody, the creative dancers and everybody, to understand that we have to look at this thing from a different lens. That this thing can create tremendous wealth for those who are involved in it. And so the government is going to put in place an agency that will be specifically responsible for that. You see what happened to the Bikers Festival. You understand? How many people came from Guadeloupe and Martinique and St. Martin and Antigua and St. Kitts and Guadeloupe and St. Lucia and St. Vincent and Barbados and Trinidad? Hundreds of people came for this trusted by grace. And what I am offering to the country is that once we complete the international airport, we can transform the Douglas Jones Airport into a permanent place for those kinds of activities, to create again activities here for you here in Calibishie. And so when you look at the budget, there are so many things that are going to directly benefit you. And I'm hoping that as the days and the weeks go by, the months go by, that we start positioning ourselves to take advantage of the opportunities. And so, our young people, my message to you is that we have to take advantage of the opportunities in education. We have to take advantage of the opportunities for a skill development. Because skills trade now in the world, Dominica included, that's where the money is. No longer is the money in the academic pursuits. Because if we don't watch it, if we don't retool ourselves in this world, and Dominica included, AI will take a number of our jobs from us. But AI cannot take up our job though. And it can't go and put the blocks. Right? And it cannot place the tiles. Right? So no AI can touch a carpenter. No AI can touch a fisherman. No AI can touch a farmer. And the man making the cassava bread, he can't touch them. You understand? So we have to position ourselves to see where the economy is going, where the gaps are, and how we can position ourselves to take advantage of the opportunity. Because if we fail as Dominicans to take advantage of the opportunities, we run the risk of people coming from outside and taking it. Because there's a new phenomenon which I support wholeheartedly. I see an increasing number of non-Dominicans coming to Dominica, bringing money in, buying land, building a home, and making Dominica the permanent home. And we need tens of thousands of them to come to buy land and build homes in Dominica. And I'm also seeing an additional phenomenon where no longer are Dominicans living overseas and working overseas, waiting to get retired to come back home. I'm seeing Dominicans in their 40s and their 50s coming to Dominica and buying properties, building homes, putting out to rent for commercial spaces or Airbnb. And so they're still working overseas, but they have an investment in Dominica working for them. Because the country is going somewhere. People are seeing the opportunity. Because we have in Dominica things that you may not find elsewhere. And one of the most important things that we have in our country is security, safety. And that is something that we have to celebrate. Yes, you will have your one or two incidents here and there. But generally in Dominica, it's a safe place. I don't have to come to Calibishie or anywhere in Dominica with security. I can walk anywhere in Calibishie myself.
Of course.
With no problem. The same for any visitor to our country. You can walk through anywhere in Dominica, no problem. As much as I do like security, I will go explain myself something. So we have been text. And our environment, that in Dominica we have been ready in a way of protecting and preserving and conserving the environment that we have. And it's important for us to continue that. That while we have development, there must be a balance, a sensitivity towards the environment. Because that is our selling point. And we have to ensure that we protect it. And so there's so many things in this budget for us in Calibishie and for Dominica. And of course I'm so happy that your school is coming to a completion. And I want to thank you here in Calibishie, for your patience and for your understanding. And we have worked our differences out and see what's happening now in the school. The school is out there, and very soon our children will have a very conducive place to learn. Our teachers will have a conducive place to learn. Someone saying, I hear someone say the school too big, so we have to make more children in Calibishie. If the school too big, then fool it. Let's fool it. Let's put it so in the next 5 years, we have 60, 70 people in the school. More. So we can make something happen in this place. But I'm happy to be here, and so it's important for us to police ourselves, and we have to be constructive and positive in Dominica. Because the world today, my dear friends, is a very difficult place. And more we have to keep on doing more by ourselves, for ourselves. But we have enough resources in Dominica, God-given resources, for us to get things done. And we have to support each other. So we have a business in Calibishie, we need to support the business. There's no reason if we have a bakery here for us to buy bread from anywhere else. We have to support the local businesses. Because by bringing more money in and people making money, we have an opportunity to make it happen. And of course, the Minister of Agriculture spoke about things I will not repeat here today. But in agriculture, there's so many things that will directly benefit you here in Calibishie. So I'm so happy to be here. I do not want to be long. I want to have an opportunity at the end of this event to interact with you, so we can have a private chat. But I'm so happy to be here in Calibishie, and thank you so much for coming out in such large numbers to be part of this engagement. And we will be taking this engagement across the country. So for example, next week I will be in Lupe, and next week I will be in Bells, and next week I will be in Scottsdale. Going to the communities and engaging the people and hearing from them and indicating to them what is in the budget, what's happening in the country, and how we believe we can work together to make life better for all of us. And of course, we have to continue providing support for housing here in Calibishie, ensuring that we address some of the challenges that so many families are experiencing. And when I hear people criticize the government's housing policy, I caution people against that. Because for me, I do not only believe that it is a political responsibility, but it is a Christian responsibility, a biblical obligation for us to look after those who can't look after themselves. And for some of us, the Lord has blessed us, and we can go to the bank or the credit union and take a loan to build a house. But there will be some among us who, no matter their best efforts, will never be able to build a house entirely by themselves. And the question is, what do you do as a government? A government has a duty to maintain the dignity of human beings. We maintain the dignity of human beings, that if I am sleeping in a comfortable home, that means to ensure that everybody else can sleep in a comfortable home. And that is how I see life, personally, as a human being. And this is how I'll be able to translate this by leadership of the country. People accuse me of of giving too many things and they call it handouts. But I always tell people who criticize me for helping people, put yourself in the person's position. And if you were in that person's position, what would you want the government to do for you? So sometimes we forget where we came from and the struggles that we had. And we become envious of somebody getting something. And we criticize the government for that. But I say to this party that I have been wanting to lead, that we have to ensure that we continue to work hand in hand with the people of Dominic. That when the resources are available, that we spend it on the people. Because all of these things that we're doing, whether it's the healthcare program, the house revolution, free scholarships for children, free tuition in state college, transportation to school, school feeding programs, free textbooks, free uniforms, these things cost money. But we want to ensure that no child in Calibishie is going to stay home because his parents can't afford to pay the bus fare this month. No. That was something of the past. There are too many people in this country who did not make it to secondary school because their parents couldn't afford. And in life, we must always seek to make life better for the succeeding generations. So it's not because we struggle to go to school that others must struggle. No. We must do things to ensure that life is better for succeeding generations. And so we remain committed to the government's social safety nets. We remain committed to the SUK program. I remember when I introduced the SUK program, the opposition said it's going to be for 1 year because at the time we only had money for 1 year. And I stood up in the parliament and I said, as long as I am Prime Minister of this country, the Lord will never forsake us in looking after the senior citizens of Dominic. And that the SUK program has been in place since 2009, ladies and gentlemen, and in 2026. And so there are a number of things that we have done in this country that no government did before. No government never gave anybody housing assistance or built a house for people and get it for free. We built 380 homes for the people of Peninsula and we give everybody a home free. Because this government is an empathetic government, a government that cares. And this is why, my friends, we have to continue to work together. This is the only party that is serious about people in Dominica. That is the only party that is serious about Dominica, ladies and gentlemen. We're not perfect. We fall short from time to time, and we accept that. We accept that. But nobody can contest that this party, this government, has been the best in the country has seen in its entire existence. The most caring and compassionate government that we have seen in the history of Dominica. The government that has implemented the most far-reaching transformational projects in our country. People forget what Dominica was when Roosevelt became Prime Minister. We have not been sitting on our hands and our heads complaining about things. No. We've been working. This government has been working, always working. And you know when has been the government, especially in difficult times, where you know who is your friend when things bad with you. And when we are faced with a natural disaster like Erica, Maria, or even COVID, when Maria came, everybody in this hall there today, in this meeting today, felt like Dominica was finished. We could never recover. This government shows its best form when it's under pressure. Its best form is when we're under pressure. And with all of what's going on around the world today, ladies and gentlemen, see the kind of budget we went to in the parliament with. Everybody's shocked. It's a bold, visionary, compassionate, progressive set of policies that we believe, if properly implemented, will continue to help transform our country. And so our task as citizens is to be positive. Our task as citizens is to be constructive. Our task as citizens is to work together with the government and to ensure that those who are looking for a job or those who have been selfish and looking for themselves, that they're not ready for politics and running the country. And so, understand that we are working as a country, hand in hand with the government, to make life better for us today, but more importantly, to make life better for our children and grandchildren tomorrow. God bless you. Thank you so much. Wonderful people, Calibishie. You will see me soon again. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to the Honorable Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue by spending time with each other. The PM said he wants to stay with you and be on with the crowd. But before we do that, I'm going to call Meredith to give a vote of thanks, and then we will be out here. You have one question at the back. We'll take that question. And yes.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yes. Okay, Meredith will come up front.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Good night to you.
I'm a familiar face. I think everybody know me. Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, I have one simple question. I'm concerning the school. We had, I don't know if Bob will say there is a plan or an idea. We talk about the playing field for the children, the young people in the village. And you told us that he was organizing. I want a little update on that.
Yeah, sure.
While we're on that too, I'm a past councillor of Calibishie, and everybody know that. But I think there should be something to recognize people after they have done good to the community. Because I am saying that because my mother-in-law just passed. I'm in a mourning mood. She was once the chairperson of Calibishie Village Council. She was also on the manager of the credit union. Fisheries cooperative. She died. No one knew.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, our sympathies to you and the family, and we understand how difficult it is when you lose a member of your family. So we stand in solidarity with you. But I agree with you entirely that there has to be a better system in place to recognize those who would have laid the foundation for us, those who have labored in the vineyard and who have made a contribution to our communities, especially in this time. But certainly, I'll see you after this program tonight. On the issue of the playing field, we are committed to that. We are seeking them to finish the school, because one of the first things we have to do is to build a retaining wall for the playing field, to backfill and so on. So that's the first thing we have to do, to ensure that the playing field can be extended a bit. So that will be done. So we're just waiting for them to finish the school, clear up the area, because it's also an inconvenience. If you come, you won't have access to the playing field, plus the school being constructed, so we're committed to that. And we will be partnering with the village council. So my plan for the wall is to make the funds available to the village council, and so local people can be engaged to do that retaining wall for us for the playing field in Calibishie. And then there are other facilities, like a washroom that we have to build, but that can only be built after you will have built the retaining wall. So we take note of that. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Go to the back, ma'am, for the question. Thank you so much.
Yeah, hello, good evening. A concern, please. Mr. Prime Minister, I heard you spoke of the tourism industry.
Yes.
And we know Red Rock is one of the popular spots in our community in Calibishie and around Dominica. But with the water project, they cut piece of the road on Point Baptiste going to the Red Rock. I don't know if the fire rep is aware of that. And it's dangerous because there are transport parks on one side of the road, and when persons are going to the Red Rock, it can always cause accidents. The transport tires can cut, and I think right now there needs some repairs in the village. Calibishie and Point Baptist should be priority.
Okay.
It can be done by tomorrow. It will be very good.
Okay, my dear, thank you so much.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So we take note of that, okay? The folks who are doing what we're doing now on the road will go across to Point Baptist and check it out for us. Thank you. Yeah, yes, ma'am. Susan, let's just, yeah.
Many years ago when the secondary program, the junior secondary program was cut off, I remember going to a meeting where they were asking teachers questions about the junior secondary program, saying that they were going to have, like everybody going to high school. We specifically told them that they should not do it like that. If they wanted to, leave first form as a remedial class and introduce skills if they're going to make everybody go to the high school. And they said they were going to do it. As a teacher, it hurts to see the number of children who are dropping out of high school. Because they go to high school now, everybody goes. Whether you just put your hand on the paper and maybe make an X or something, you go to high school. Fine, you go to high school. They have some books on their backs they cannot carry, but they cannot read some of them. And then they get frustrated and they fall by the way. It is hurting. I do not like to see it. I'm no longer a teacher. But I feel for the students who are all over. We have a lot of dropouts now. In fact, I used to travel, and when I would see people on the street, young people on the street, I used to be happy that we did not have that in Dominica. Right now, we have a lot of students. I think, Mr. Prime Minister, we should introduce some skills in the high school because not everyone is academically inclined, but we have some students who can work with their hands. And if we would get skills introduced in the high schools, first form, let them go. When they reach a certain age, a certain stage, we would, well, they would be able to see who is academically inclined, who is more on the book side, so they would be able to study and get those other things. Please help our students. Many of them are falling on this side. Wait. My next question. I am partly taking care of an elderly gentleman. His house was demolished so that he could get a new building. The foundation of the building is there, but I don't know what is happening. Nothing is being done for now. I do not know what is in the pipeline, but please, he needs a home. I need to see him, Thank you.
Thank you. Well, on the issue of the education system, I mean, if we know of the history of the junior secondary program, the junior secondary program was introduced to cater for children who did not pass the common entrance. It was never for skills. It was for those who did not pass the common entrance. And then you went there for 3 years, and then if you get a grade 1, they send you to secondary school. Yeah. And it started you at first form or second form, depending on how well you did at the JSP. The reality is, I've always maintained, there's no reason why a child should get to grade 6 in any school in Dominica and can't read basic sentences. You can't spend 7 years in the school and can't read basic sentences. There's something fundamentally wrong, and we have to address this at the primary school level. And the issue of the skills at the secondary schools, and this is why I keep saying to the Ministry of Education, they're not talking to the people of Dominica about what's really happening in those schools. Because at those secondary schools, you have many technical vocational programs at those schools. But even if you're going to be a carpenter, or a seamstress, or a tailor, you must know maths. You must be able to read. And so you can't escape those foundational courses. So I believe that what we have to pay attention to, and this is what the Ministry of Education has to pay attention to, is to better prepare students, first at the preschool level, and secondly at the primary school level, so that so that you have a child who has the comprehension skills and the ability to read and do mathematics, so that when he goes, whether it's technical vocational route or the academic route, he can succeed at the secondary school. I don't think that the numbers that you're talking about in terms of dropout is as dramatic as you're saying, because the data we have, even if it is one child too many. So for me, whether it's one child or 5 children or 25 children, it's too many for me. Because I believe as a teacher myself, that every child must be given the opportunity to succeed in school and to do well. And so there are technical vocational courses at the school, and also what we're seeking to do and if you look at the TVET, I mean, a lot of things happening there that we don't speak about in initial education as much as we should. But reintroducing the JSP is not an answer to the challenges confronting education. That was for a time, and if you look at it, many of the children who went to JSP never made it to any place beyond that. Some were fortunate enough to have developed some skills, some technical skills, but the reality is we send people who did not pass the common entrance to JSP, especially when they got to the age that they're no longer supposed to be in secondary school, in primary school at the time. So they are sent to that. Otherwise, you would have had to send a child home at 14 and 15 years, which was not in conformity with the law that says you have to provide children basic education up to 16 years. And so I do not advocate for us to go back to that area. I think what we have to do is to improve. This is why I've been advocating, you've heard me many times, talking about there has to be a dramatic reform in our education system. And I've not been only saying that in Dominica, I've said that at CARICOM meetings, I said at OECS, because it's a global phenomenon. And with all of these new concepts taking place in the world, we have to expose our children to them. And what our schools need now, because you have more opportunities now for higher education, for tertiary education, this notion that a child is doing 15 and 16 subjects is great, but to what benefit? And so we have to teach children more critical thinking, more analytical skills, entrepreneurship, collaboration, cooperation, how to work with each other, civics, to know your responsibilities, to know your rights. Those kinds of concepts, resilience on the issue of climate change, our history. Because once a child can read and write, the child can pass any subject. Once you can understand what you have read, you can pass any subject. And when you can analyze what you have read, you can pass any subject. So we have to go back and we have to dramatically change the system and to get people to be not looking for a job, but to create jobs because they have that entrepreneurial spirit and that tuition that they receive at the schools. So there has to be a dramatic change and so forth. And this is what I've been advocating for some time. And I think if we go that route, and we also do that in primary school, in primary school there's no reason why you should be teaching children all these subjects. Maths, English, science, history, and go outside and play and plant vegetables and interact with each other, and the child will be the best child you will see being produced in a primary school normally. But all these big books and all these exercise books that half of them, I see these books, I buy books for my children, I go through them at secondary and primary school. And these books are badly written, if you tell me. They're badly written, they can't comprehend them, they're above children level. Even teachers can't understand some of the books that people buy these days in initial education. So I am being blunt and being forthright with my views on this matter because I feel so passionate about it that I was a teacher and I still teach sometimes. And these publishers, they sell books and they come to initial education and I tell you that book is the best book out there, and people read it and they say, okay, let's go ahead with it. Anyway, I can go all night talking about that. Thank you, madam, for your questions. Then. And on the senior citizen person, we will discuss that particular case so you can follow. Thank you so much. Yes, the spokesperson for the water project in Calibishie there tonight. Very good job, very good job.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, ma'am.
I just want to say thank you for what you're doing, and I hope that you keep it up. But what I'm saying is that Trump sending up people, and people coming home like what's up. So what I'm making, there are people
No.
Which I find is too much. Right now I know 3 people are coming over there, so they tell me to ask the question.
Sure.
So I am glad we are here tonight to know that when they come with the container and all they put it home they come, so they want a duty free.
Sure.
Okay. Secondly, I was there when the Minister for Agriculture was speaking, but the road is covered by battery. When I have to go to one get to bring out to come and sell to the farmer, I cannot have to pay 4-wheel drive. I cannot get anything to go up there and take the dashing to bring down. So at least if you can tariff the whole road. When you're doing the water, it was good. Transport was faster because they had tariff the road.
I see.
But now on both sides, the water running on it destroy the road, and then any transport cannot go up here. And then we have a CMOS thing in Calibishie, but I don't like the idea about it. That is the growing CMOS on string, I don't know call it the people CMOS. But we have CMOS growing on our reef. And I believe if we could get sale for those CMOS, they all know why they got 35 pounds at home. You understand? So we need to get sale for the CMOS because the string one we didn't grow up with it. That was adopted. So what is ours here, we get a way to get it to sell. So I don't know if the Minister of Agriculture could get away for us, but the one they have in the association, the one they have, I don't like it and we don't want it.
All right.
And no, because we cannot, we have all of us must so we don't get things sale. Okay, you take it. Okay, and what you forget to say, I heard on the radio, that you say all who making babies after September will get $100,000. I can hear you say that. So those people that are pregnant will prepare themselves to get that money and make sure it is there.
Yeah.
Because I can hear you say that. And then another thing again you said about the monies for the civil servant and the 3%. We don't have civil servants here. We have a few in Calibishie. Calibishie don't have civil servants. So we have to get a way out for us to be able to get those loans. Yeah, but not 33% because we have civil servants, we have more farmers, and we have people here that are helping themselves. Because I myself would be glad to get it, because every Friday for almost 4 years I have to be making potato pudding. And I need a machine or something to grind the potato for me. Because it's not easy every week to have 20 pounds of potatoes to be grinding to make it. So I need all that, I need a help with it.
Yeah.
You know, if we have places that we know that can import things to grind things and so on. And that can help me with it. And other people are ready to listen to and want help. And I myself want to make a bed and breakfast and I have got help I need.
Okay. Just to say, very good questions by there. On the last point, the 3.5% loan at the aid bank is open for everybody. So not only civil, everybody. And you say you need a coconut grinder? Yeah. All right. Well, I'll make sure you get one, okay? I'll make sure you get one. Okay. We'll buy you one. Buy you one. And then on the Dominicans returning, they're entitled to duty free. So they, on a vehicle, they're exempt from the VAT, the excise tax and import duties, and on all of their household items and so forth. And so if they have any problems, let us know so that we can facilitate them. Okay, so they're entitled to that. And we'll send somebody to check on the 7 Pie Road to see what we can do to improve it next week, okay? So we have with tariffs here, we can send them next week to do an assessment to them. But thank you so much. We'll take the last question, Froggy.
Yes.
Froggy the Great there.
All right, let me say good evening to those on the head table. And welcome to Calibishie as usual. It would be remiss of me if I don't come and say something tonight about the community of Calibishie. I'm disappointed in the sense where, as a farming community, we tired beg to fix the roads. We tired beg to fix the road. We have tariffs right at our doorstep. I already said the government just cut the tariffs and farmers will come and pick up the tariff there. We'll come for it. The tariff is closed and it have tariff there, and our people will suffer it. There's one road, in Wingrove Road, and I always say that every opportunity I get, I will say it. The Wingrove Road is one of an escape route should something happen where the tourists always stop in Savanpai Junction to look at the rock down there. The road has a big crack in it. They cover it with asphalt, but the crack is underneath. God forbid I don't want it to go down, but if it go down, Wingrove is the only spot we have to pass and come around. Our father was there with Richard just came in. So I would like to take close attention to the feeder roads in the community, because we are an agricultural community, and with the amount of tourists coming in here, they too doing agritourism. They walk up the ridge. I see them all the time, pass through the grass, and all the time they walk up through the ridges and the different ridges. So we like you, we are appealing to you, please do something about the Calibishie feeder roads. Other comments, I heard what somebody said about food security. We are not food security as yet, because we imported so many things out of, so that is not that might be a misleading statement to say that we are food security sure. In terms of housing, all about getting house, Calibishie not getting house. Those that get house in Calibishie don't want to go and stay in it. You understand? They don't want to go and stay in it. So what is the reason why they give them the house? Okay, I don't want to be too long. Let me touch on the water. The water system, I don't know. When people doing things in the community, they have to come to the people in the community, get information from them, and we will give them the information. We have how they call it, irrigation system, where we could have gotten water there for, without no pump, nothing. Right? The system was already there. When I was chairman of the village council, we went up there and we look at it. Them man come there with their drone, they fly over and they watch and so on, they say they'll come back and things. What I'm saying, that water could give possible water. Now the Savanpai people, I can see with them because Savanpai, when you take the water up there, you come down. How certain are we that water will to reach Savanpai? Whereas the tanking itself is up at the Savanpai junction. All you have to do is run down some more pipes into Savanpai, because eventually Savanpai in that area, those areas there will become part of the village. Do you know? Because there are no place down here for people to build again. Everybody has to go up. In years to come, Savanpai is going to be a village. Then you have to go and bring water there again. Still on the water system. I noticed that certain areas on the ridges, like on the flat, you can dig beside the road. But on the ridge, why dig the center of the road to make the pipe pass? And you have land on that side, you have land on that side. Right? So when somebody is going to connect now, you have to cut the road again. You get what I'm saying? I'm saying it has enough land on. Why they cut the road in the center? So if they didn't put it in the center, we would have a problem in terms of taking on the road. One more thing, maybe two more. Briefly. In terms of the customs things about Mr. PM, and the reduced price in the shop and so on. But if we do have price control, we're not here neither there, because everybody wants to sell their thing how they want. Everybody's selling their stuff how they want. You go in that shop, you have that price. You go in that shop, you have that price for the same product. So I believe price control in our community, in our country, is very, very, very essential. The bank, you cannot go in the bank and say, if I want to run you. If then you go in the bank and telling you you're a farmer, they'll run you. Or they'll ask you to get somebody that have a job to co-sign. And it have plenty farmers here that can remember back in the days when money used to meet money. Money used to meet money in the agricultural sector. So much so that the bank was calling farmers to come and take loans. Salisbury was Toyota, Calibishie was Mitsubishi back in the day. So money was meeting money. But something has to be done to get the people into agriculture. The feeder road is the key to getting us back into agriculture. Insurance, that is a giveaway, but I still have a little thing in that with the insurance.
Just to tell you, Froggy, when you're talking about money, was meeting money in the time of bananas. When we came into government, we paid off $56 million as this gully up on the government, which farmers were owing to the DBMC and the DBGA. So money wasn't necessarily meeting money. You had a market for bananas that was protected by the European Union. And every week you got a check. But you left $56 million in debt of non-payment of cess, non-payment.
Which country that doesn't support agriculture in the world?
No, we support agriculture. There's no government, there's no part.
So if you mean that debt when you come in,
but
this pay can continue.
No. I'm making the point. Yeah, I agree with you. We did that. So we paid the $56 million. Right? And we continue, that's right. We continue. But I want you to correct that point, that fact, because you're talking about facts.
Yes. You also now saying in terms of the insurance. Yeah. I know everybody paid the payment of insurance. How guarantee we are to know that the monies will go to the farmers that really need the money? Because right now what I see now, it's a fertilizer and I go for it, they don't give me. They don't sell for me. They don't sell manure for me when I go for the manure and I see that manure there. And it had more. Because other people came there and get. Other people came there and get. And I come for and I didn't get. Okay, so I'm saying the extension officer should have a big part to play when they distribute fertilizer instead of giving it to people that don't even know who are the farmers. Thank you very much.
On the brief quickly, I mean, Froggy, you know you were involved in agriculture. When you compare, as a matter of fact, when you compare what this government has done in terms of investment in agriculture, it can't be compared to any government. None. The kind of support that we provided to farmers, you spoke already, I responded to you. You know that for a fact. I mean, you normally like to play local politics and so on, so I accept that. But you cannot contest the fact that no government has invested more in agriculture than this government. As a matter of fact, only one point I make to you. Monies that were spent in agriculture by previous governments were monies we got from foreign governments, from the European Union in particular, you know. But no government ever used money from the treasury to invest in farmers in Dominica, you know. Never. And no time after a disaster that any farmer would have gotten support, except if you were a banana farmer and paying crop insurance. Wind crop. None. So the extent to which we have invested in farmers in Dominica is unprecedented. Other thing you have to pay attention to is that, I mean, yes, in Calibishie you will have farmers that you always have to improve. But you also have to appreciate that we have also invested heavily in farmers in Calibishie. In one road cost us over $9 million. One road, over $9 million. So let us not give the impression that no farm road has been done. Yes, you'll always need a farmer because you live in a heavy rainfall place, wear and tear, and so forth, so you have to continuously improve. But one cannot give the fact that we have not improved. I'm happy that you have recognized that we have built homes. I don't know who's not going to the homes, but we have spent serious money on housing assistance and building homes. The challenge we've had in doing a kind of development like Paybush and elsewhere is that you do not have accessible lands in land tracts in Calibishie. And the only option you have is to take away agricultural lands, and which we do not want to do to build homes and so forth. So we recognize that. On the water stuff, I take note of your observations on the water. And of course, the manager in his presentation did address a number of those concerns that the residents of Calibishie had. But what I do not want us to lose sight of, my final point before the vote of thanks, is to let us not lose sight of the greater impact of the new water system. The inconveniences we have in are temporary, but the long-term solution, long-term challenge of the water system in Calibishie is being addressed. And furthermore, the extent of investment we're making in that water system, to the point where you're going to need to pay Domlec a serious bill every month to pump the water. No matter how much we charge you a month, you'll never have enough money to pay Domlec or to pay back the bills for that. So the water will be heavily subsidized by the government once the project is completed. But we thank God that we found the money. The project has been implemented. We now have to go through the testing phases, check the pipes, make sure it's working properly, no leaks, and come October, by the grace of God, we'll have a new and improved water system for the residents of Calibishie. We take note of one or two areas that people feel may not have been captured. DOASCO has taken note of this, and we'll look at the issue that you have raised for us here tonight, so that we can have an answer to you. I do not have an answer now. We certainly will have an answer to you then. So I want to thank you very much for your questions and your engagement. We take in good spirit the questions. My response is really one of clarification. I respect every question raised, every comment made, but one of clarification so that at least we try to get as close to the full picture as possible. And I always thank Froggy for his questions, but I know Froggy very well. But Froggy like to leave important facts out of the question. Yes, sir. You like to do that. That's Froggy. Froggy like to come and play a little thing there. But my partner that. You understand? But every time I meet him, we always have a good conversation, very respectful, always, and a great asset to the community of Calibishie. Thank you, Froggy. Thank you so much.
Good evening to everybody. On behalf of the Pebush constituency, Labour Party, first of all, I want to thank the Almighty God for blessing us with good weather tonight. Secondly, I want to thank Nicky Marcel for allowing us to use his place so that we can have that meeting tonight as well. I want to thank everybody who came from far to support us. I want to thank the members, people of Calibishie who came out in large numbers. I also want to thank the people who took time out yesterday to clean and decorate that place so we could have the meeting tonight in a clean and pleasant environment. For those, I don't know what I hear it have snack, but if in case it really have snack. For those who prepare the snack, I want to say thank you to them. I also want to say thank you to our pal rep to be here with us tonight. Last but not least, to our Honorable Dr. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit and members of his cabinet, we want to say thank you as well. Your presence here tonight means everything to us. We appreciate you and we hope you will always come back. So may God continue to bless each and every one of us, and God bless Dominica. I thank you.